going for a run, going for a walk, doing yoga, whatever your thing is, right? You do it more for your mental health, even than your physical health, because it's a way to keep your mind sharp as a leader, keep your mind sharp as an entrepreneur. So that's the one thing. And the second thing I would share with you is you only get one shot to make a first impression. And when you're on point, like I can speak for me for sure. When I'm on point, like when I'm dialed, like with you, you got shoulders, you got chest, like you got arms, like your shoulders pop.
Welcome to the Gentleman Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast, where we bring to you the most successful, happy, fulfilled gentlemen from around the world who have been able to conquer themselves, their life, their marriage, and their businesses. You will be learning from four-dimensional gentlemen who have cracked the code to the science of having it all. The question is, how can married entrepreneurs with kids become gentlemen, achieve true freedom, and build a successful, happy, and fulfilled life, marriage, and business? This show will give you the answer for that. My name is Alex Ramirez, and I'm your host, and you're welcome to the Gentleman Success, Happiness, Fulfillment Talk podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Gentleman Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast. This is like the 75th episode in the last 4 months. I've been doing I'm enjoying this. Today, as always, I have a very special gentleman. And before I introduce him to you, though, I just want to give a big shout out to all of you who have been leaving likes, comments, reviews on all the major podcasting platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify, and to those who have been watching on YouTube as well. Thank you very much. And I want to ask you for something. I have a very special guest that is going to be sharing and dropping some wisdom. And I want to ask you that if you get something out of this episode, if you get some piece of information, some a feeling, an inspiration to go and take action, I want to ask you to share this interview with one friend, since this is how we grow, this is how we share our message, and this is how we're able to motivate, inspire, and bless other people. So thank you for that. And today I have Justin Prince. Justin Prince is a family man, entrepreneur, author, international speaker. He went from selling out of a mall kiosk with no college education to building 4 different multi-million-dollar businesses that have generated over $2 billion in total revenue with over 4 million customers. He's shared his passion and success story in over 20 countries on stages around the world. And he continues to inspire over 1 million people a day from his social media platforms. Justin's passion is to provide people the strategies, skills, and motivation they need to grow from the person they are to the person they were created to be. So Justin, thank you very much for being here, man. I really appreciate you, and you're welcome.
Yeah, Alex, honored to be here with you, brother. Appreciate your passion. Love your story and kind of your mission to serve and add value to men. And, excited to be able to chat with you for a few minutes, dude. I'm excited to be here.
Thanks, man. So look, the first thing that I do with my guest is I tell them to walk us through their entrepreneurial journey in 75 seconds or less.
Yeah. So I came from a divorced family at age 12. We moved 13 times in the next 7 years, kind of through those teenage years. And then had no professional background. I was making pizzas, working at construction, kind of menial construction work. Then, as you mentioned, I worked at a mall selling cartoon Bible movies out of a mall kiosk. I have no college education. I was introduced to being an entrepreneur when I was 25 years old. And I just went for it. I was like, man, I always had big dreams, big goals. I always wanted to do something with my life. So I started my first business at 25. The business ultimately failed. And it left me below zero financially, back on credit cards, back on taxes. At one point, I moved my pregnant wife and our 2 kids into the loft of my wife's parents' garage. So I'm working 2 part-time jobs. I'm below zero financially. My kids are sleeping in the closet. I'm living in the loft of my wife's parents' garage. And I'm chasing the dream to be free in my next business. I'm thinking to myself, man, what am I doing with my life, And ultimately, I kind of had a breakthrough with that business. I ended up selling that business when I was about 30. And then I got kind of out of that profession. I did private equity consulting for the next 2 years. And then I launched my current business. I came in as a consultant to a company that was a 25-year-old company, a couple $100 million a year in sales, 200 plus products, doing business all over the world. And I came in as a consultant to help them to transform their company, basically to relaunch and transform their entire business. And so we tore that company down to the floorboards. We built a brand in a company called Modere. We created a concept called social retail. And we launched this about just over 7 years ago. And the short story is we grinded. Those first, we grew every year. We've grown every year for 7 years, but the first 4 years were just a grind. Like, it was incremental growth. We had a breakout year in 17, 18 was bigger than that. 19 was our biggest year ever. 2020 was 300% bigger than 19. 2021, every month of 2021 was our biggest month we'd ever had of that particular month. And then this year so far, January was our biggest January ever. February is bigger than January. March has been bigger than February. And so we just have good momentum happening in the business. What's been cool is we had a simple sharing model where I teach people how to make money on social media. So my passion is helping people to learn how to build financial and time and geographic freedom. So where they actually are in complete control of their life, not only of their money, but of their time, and not only of their time, but they literally geographically have no restrictions. And so they can make money from their phones. And so we paid out over $1 billion in commissions to this community, this global community of people that are, referring our products. And so that's kind of been what's happened. It's been crazy, man, because I went from, no college education, selling cartoon Bible videos, to one of the top earners, if not the number one earner in my entire profession, which is a, $180 billion profession globally. So it's been an amazing experience.
That was an amazing story, man. And I'm excited to dive a little bit deeper into that. But so okay, so you help people, achieve financial, time, and geographical freedom, and you do that through. How do you do that? How do you help them actually achieve the financial and time and geographical freedom?
Yeah. So in our business, what we do is we have a global community of what we call social marketers. Basically, social marketers are people that are paid for their social influence. And what's interesting is most of our people are just normal people. They're not social media influencers. They're not people that have huge social media followings. They're just kind of people like you and I, hardworking, normal people, have a job, have a career. Maybe you have a side business, but they're people that are looking to make money with their phone, basically. And so we have our model is pretty cool. We teach them how to make money on social media. We have our system has a year's worth of posts already done for them. They know what to post every single day, so they learn how to market. And then we have a free app that they have a discount code that they can send to someone that says, "Hey, I'd like to try your products." They can send that. When someone clicks on it, we pay them twice a day. So they post, they share the $10 discount code, and then they can earn these twice a day commissions. And what's cool is they own the lifetime value. So it's different than like an affiliate kind of program where if you get a sell on Amazon or something like that, then you get one sell and it's over. With ours, every time those people reorder, they get paid again and again and again. So we've been able to build, everything from people making hundreds of dollars a month to thousands to hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, and the whole thing. And so it's been a really kind of cool experience to watch people be able to succeed at all different levels of the business.
Cool. So like you get people to sell your products?
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, cool. And that sounds, it's a very interesting model, man. So what are the products that you sell?
Yeah. So we're the world leader in a collagen. We have a BioCell collagen product. We have 100 plus SKUs, but our collagen. So collagen, first of all, like if you're a dude, it's like, I've heard of collagen. What is that? Collagen is what holds you together. It's the protein building block of your body. So your bones, your hair, your skin, your nails, like we're made of collagen. And so we market the top collagen product in the world. We have weight management products. We have home care products. Like we have products that people are using, they're already using in these different areas of their home. And our whole kind of business philosophy is helping people to switch the products they're using for safer, effective, non-toxic products. It's kind of the marketing angle. And then again, these social marketers are paid. We generated $2 billion in sales, and then we paid out over $1 billion in commissions because all of our advertising is done through this word of mouth, just this community of people, and that's kind of how we generated and ran our business.
That's really interesting, man. No wonder why you look so good, right? You must take some collagen.
Yeah, exactly. It's collagen, bro.
So how old are you, man?
I'm 41.
41. Awesome. 41.
It's crazy, dude. It goes fast, dude. Freaking goes fast.
Yeah. And so, I come from this, like culture, like Mexican culture, in which by 40, like you're done, like by 40, you have this belly, you get tired of going down 3 steps. There's a lot of things that you are going through at 40, and like by 40 you're done, but you don't look near anywhere from like being done.
No, listen, dude, let me say this. So health is wealth. Health is your true wealth is your health. Like if you don't have your health, in other words, your body hurts, your back hurts, you're out of shape, you're out of breath, your heart's not working. Well, you don't have anything at that point, right? And so the paradigm has shifted just as a society, which is like the jolly old fat man. Like, a few generations ago, the fat rich guy or fat rich woman, like that was the model of health. They were fat and they were happy, that whole thing. Now, like the richest people on the planet are the ones that are in the best shape, because they put a lot of time towards resources. In fact, Tony Robbins just finished a book called Life Force, just talking about how like literally how we can age backwards now, So fitness is an important part of my life. Nutrition is an important part of my life. We have some of the, obviously some of the top wellness products in the world with our company. And, it's just a big part. So supplementation is a big part of my life. But if I could share some wisdom with your audience, there's really two main ones I would share when it comes to this subject, which is, you want to build habits and patterns. So excellence, Aristotle said that excellence is not an act, it's a habit.
Therefore,
he says, therefore we are what we repeatedly do. Yeah. Sounds like, that one, So in other words, it's not something you do every once in a while. It's what you repeatedly do. It's your habits. And I tell people, habits don't care about your feelings. So you go to the gym, even when you don't feel like going to the gym. Why? Because it's your habit. You treat people with respect, even when you don't want to. Why? Because it's your habit. You build good habits. And so the one would be fitness. Like you want to build fitness into your habit. By the way, Alex, you build it more for your brain than you do for your bicep.
Yeah.
In other words, having physical energy, physical release. So lifting weights, going for a run, going for a walk, doing yoga, whatever your thing is, right? You do it more for your mental health, even than your physical health, because it's a way to keep your mind sharp as a leader, keep your mind sharp as an entrepreneur. So that's the one thing. And the second thing I would share with you is, you only get one shot to make a first impression. And when you're on point, like I can speak for me for sure. When I'm on point, like when I'm dialed, like with you got shoulders, you got chest, like you got arms, like your shoulders pop. Well, that says a lot about you, dude. That doesn't happen on accident, like that says a lot about you. And so when your physical fitness is on point, like you're physically on point, dude, you show up better in business. You show up better at your job. People treat you differently. They look at you differently. So you don't want to let it all fall apart. Build good rituals, build good habits, build good patterns, and you'll vibrate at a higher frequency in life when you're in good shape.
100%. So, man, there's this analogy that I really like. I don't remember who was the philosopher that said it or that created it, but like your habits are like, you can literally move the world with your habits, right? So the way that this is explained is, like the like a leverage, like if you have a leverage or like a lever long enough, and you have the thing holding it, right, which is the fulcrum strong enough, right, you can literally move the world. Like
so Archimedes says it. He said, give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum high enough and I can lift the world. That was Archimedes.
And the lever and the fulcrum are your habits.
Yes.
Right? So like if you're trying to accomplish anything, just become the person with the habits that will get you there.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely agree. So my videographer is 22 years old, I believe. He might be 23, but I believe he's 22. And he and I were with my son. My son's 18. We were out. We were out traveling. We went and worked out that morning. We're kind of walking back to the place we were staying. And it was we were overlooking this thing. There's all these beautiful, really expensive homes. Post Malone, the singer Post Malone, lived across the canyon. So it was just this kind of cool place. And here I'm talking to my 18-year-old son and then my 22-year-old videographer. Both of them are hungry, both want to succeed, both want to go to the next level in their life, both want to create great lives. And what I told them is, I said, the subject of having a private jet came up, just for example.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, guys, you want to get around people that have what you want to have and then model their habits. Like in other words, you do what they're doing today, you grow into it. So a quick story I'll share with you. There was a young man years ago, he's flunking out of high school, flunking out of his life, hanging out with the wrong kids. His whole life is going the wrong direction. And he's raised by a single mom in Wichita, Kansas. And May of his junior year, he promises his mom he'll go take the SAT test. So if you remember the SAT test, those either remember it, there's a language side and there's a math side. So the maximum you can score is 800 points per side. So 1,600 points total. So this kid goes in, flunking out of high school, hanging out with the wrong kids, goes in to take the test. He gets the results back and he's totally stunned. This kid scores a 1,480 out of 1,600, which means the kid's a complete genius. He's an utter genius. So he takes the results back to his mom and he gives them to her. And his mom looks at the test results and she says what a lot of our moms would have said to us. She goes, "Baby, did you cheat?" He goes, "Mama, I did not cheat. I promise, Mom. This is real." So he's like, dang, okay. So long story short, he realizes, he says, "Man, if I'm so smart, I might as well go to class." When he goes to class, he changes his behavior and stops hanging out with the bad kid because that was in class. So his teachers say, "Franklin, we had it wrong on you. You're a pretty good kid. Graduates from high school, graduates from junior college, graduates from Wichita State, graduates from the Ivy Leagues, and becomes an entrepreneur in the magazine industry, becomes a multi-millionaire in the magazine industry, one of the more successful entrepreneurs in the magazine space in the country." You say, wow, what a cool story. Here's a kid flunking out of his life, but realizes how smart he is. That he's a 1480, he's a genius, and he changed his life. That's not the end of the story. So Alex, check this out. 13 years later, he gets a letter in the mail from Princeton, New Jersey. And it says, "We periodically review our test taking policies and test taking procedures. In the year that you took the test, you were one of 12 students, that were sent the wrong test score. You didn't score a 1480.
Holy
you scored
shit.
a 740. And so he said, "People have been telling me my whole life, your life changed when you got this 1480 test score." He said, "No, my whole life changed when I started acting like a 1480.
Believing.
Exactly. So today you just start saying, "Listen, I'm the one. Like, I'm a 1480. I'm gonna start acting like it." You start being that person today, and next thing you know, you'll become that person because you have the habits, patterns, and rituals and consistency that person would have.
He went from being the person that he was to becoming the person he was born to be. Just
absolutely
for that belief, right? And that's one of the things that you do. You inspire leaders to like intentionally tap into their greatness, right? To like ignite their greatness. And man, I think I'm like, I have this amazing like vision for me. And let me tell you like a quick story. I went to the 10X conference this past weekend, and I met a girl whose gift is that God talks through her, right? So like she sees you walking around, and then if God has sent us a message, she has to like tapping you on your shoulder and be like, "Hey, I gotta tell you this," right? Because if she doesn't, she can't sleep, and she has a really bad time, right? That's supposedly her gift. And I met this girl, like never ever seen her. She doesn't know me, right? And then she starts telling me about my future, about the things that I already know I'm going to be doing, and I'm like there listening to her, and I'm like, "Yeah, I know." And then she keeps on telling me, and then I'm like, "You're right." And like she keeps on telling me about my future, and then I'm like, who? Have you listened to my podcast, or like what's going on with you? And then she tells me about her gift, that her gift is like that God talks through her. And then she tells me that, yeah, like I'm going to be doing better things than Grant Cardone, and that my events will be even bigger. And I'm like, yeah, and I know. And then she tells me, "And you're going to be doing great, but God told me to tell you that you're still playing small." She said, and I'm like, holy shit. Well, I cannot think bigger. Like right now, the way that I'm thinking is the biggest that I'm thinking, right? And you right now you said get around people who have the things that you want to have, and that'll help you get them, faster. That's one of the reasons why I started my podcast. I started my podcast to fulfill my purpose, as well as like selfishly to get around people like you who are decades ahead of me, so that I can gain the opportunities that will get me to my goals much faster, right? With less effort and in a better way. And so she told me this, man, and I feel this greatness within, but I feel like there's a lot more to tap into, and that's like what you help leaders do. You help them intentionally tap into their greatness and ignite their greatness. So how do you do that, man? I want to like selfishly know.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, what a cool story, and it says a lot about you that's where you met her, is at the 10X conference.
Yeah.
because there's power in proximity, just you getting around not only the speakers on the stage, but even the people in the audience that you met, like her. So to me, it's a formula of helping people get what they want and helping them to become the person they're born to become. And it starts obviously with clarifying what you want. What do you want? Teaching people how to focus. And then lastly is optimizing habits. So it's like a CFO formula. So you clarify, you focus, you optimize. Most people aren't really that clear on what they want. In fact, most people spend more time planning like a vacation than they do planning the next 5 years of their life. Their life just sort of happens. And then also the focus. Our focus is under attack right now. It's never been more under attack than in any time in human history. It's by the way, it's horrible for my generation. It's even worse for yours because a lot of people they grew up with all the technology. And so it's also this is like your moment. So Martin Luther King said that stars shine brightest in the darkest nights. So what happens in the dark nights is the dark nights create contrast. Contrasts allow, if all stars were shining bright, yours would blend in. But if no stars are shining bright and you shine bright, you stand out. And so when everyone's distracted, when everyone's like they have they're addicted to their phones, they're distracted by their phones, they're distracted by social media. If you can learn to focus, it's like running a sprint when everyone else is a bunch of zombies. You're just going to just blow by everybody, And then lastly is optimizing habits, creating rituals, patterns, and habits in your life, to be able to get where you want to go. And that formula, that simple formula with time and distance, meaning some consistency. It's like I was talking to my trainer today, at the gym, and there's success principles. If you'll like consistency, dedication, focus, clarity, determination, there's success principles. If you'll apply those same principles to fitness, you're going to get in great shape. It just is what it's like. It's just a matter of time. If you do it to business, particularly the right business with the right mentors, you're going to crush it in business. Like it's just a matter of just applying the same success principles over into different areas.
So it's just a matter of time. I'm excited, man. So like it sounds really similar as something that I created, from standing in the shoulders of giants. Of course, I didn't just create that, right? But it goes like this: clarity, energy, drive, courage, right? Which is clarity and optimizing, right? Clarity, energy, which is like taking care of yourself. Clarity, energy, driving courage. Driving courage is like being clear about why, not only what you want, but why. And that's going to give you driving courage. And then so there's 7 principles, right? The first 4 determine if you take action, right? The next 3 determine how well you take action, how effective and efficient you are. And that's consistency, discipline, and focus, right? So like you said, consistency, discipline, and focus. On my phone, man, I literally have like 1 hour of screen time. And like, it's just because like I post on stories, like right after this interview, I'm going to go and post that I had an amazing time talking to you.
Yeah.
That's it, right? But I'm incredibly focused. And a couple of months ago, like about 8 months ago, I was dealing with a lot of like self-doubts, right? And I would like be really productive for like a couple of days and then fall off the horse. And it was because I was spending too much time on my phone, right? I was comparing my life, which I'm hard on myself. So like for anyone watching on YouTube, I'm making gestures with my hands, but like I was comparing my life, which is here, but I'm hard on myself. So like I look at it as if I was here, and I'm comparing this to like people to like the people that the life that people were portraying on social media, right? And I was constantly frustrated and I was constantly doubting myself. And ever since I stopped like doing that, like just like ever since I optimized my focus, it's completely great. Like I track my emotions, man. And you can see my calendar. I have like this big ass calendar. That's how it's called, big ass calendar by Jesse Itzler. And I track my calendar, my emotions on there. And last year in a month, like 28 days out of the 30 days, I was feeling doubt and I was feeling down, right? And then even this January, 22 days out of the 30 days, I was feeling down. And then on February, 14 days out of the 30 days, I was feeling down. And then on March, this past month, I felt down like 2 days out of the 30 days, right? And the rest of the days are like colored green and colored blue. Green is for like positive and enthusiastic, and blue is for on fire. So like that is the impact that a little bit of focus can cause.
I love that, bro. That's powerful.
So awesome, man. So you also have you also have the 7 steps for rock solid confidence. You
Mhm.
mind talking a little bit more about that?
Well, let me say this: the foundation of your success is believing in yourself. And so if you were to
Yeah.
like build the foundation of anything is what you build up from there. And it just starts with just believing in you. Like, do you believe in you? The number one way to build confidence in yourself is keep promises you make to yourself. So for example, if you say, I'm going to wake up at 7 a.m., wake up at 7 a.m. Just keep the confidence, just keep the promise you make to yourself. And as you start to kind of keep promises you make to yourself, you start building some good momentum. Here's another quick tip that you can do. If the momentum is a secret to life, it's a secret to business. And so you can actually manufacture momentum. You can create it. What I mean by that is you can literally make a commitment to yourself. Like, I'll give you an example. You can say there's really 2 questions you want to ask. Number one, what attitude shift can I make right now that will lead me towards my goal? Attitude doesn't require someone buying from you. It doesn't require you succeeding in some way. Attitude shift, like Alex, you said, I want to show up with a passion. Like, you have great passion, great energy, great enthusiasm. That's something you can control. Like, that's totally within your control. Like, no one else has to give you permission to do that. So maybe you say, okay, my next person I talk to, I'm going to make their day. Meaning I'm just going to be as enthusiastic as possible, as like high energy as possible. Okay. That's something you can totally control. It's an attitude shift. The second question is, what is the next physical step I can take, next physical action I can make to move towards my goals? So the first one's an attitude shift. The second one is taking like very intentional, purposeful action. And that's another thing that I would encourage you to be thinking about is, how can I take a physical step towards my goal? So maybe that's, who do I need to follow up with? What presentation do I need to do? What's the tough conversation I need to have? Like, what's the next step I can do to move towards my goal? Maybe it's, I need to do a post on social media. Maybe it's, I need to hire that person. Maybe it's, I need to knock out, no more drinking for me. My drinking is holding me back right now. Like, what's the next physical action? Physical. Once you do that, guess what you ask? What's the next physical action? What's the next physical action? What's the next physical action? And what happens is you start to build momentum. Why? Because you're keeping promises you make to yourself. You start building confidence in yourself. You start saying, you know what? I can make things happen. I'm a creator. It's interesting. If you look at the first line of the Bible, and I'm an amateur on the Bible for sure, but the first line of the Bible, it says, in the beginning, God did what to the heavens and the earth? Those of you that know the Bible know this line. It says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now, of all the titles that God could use to introduce himself, because this is the first line. This is people picked up the book, opened up the first page, first line of the Bible. Of all of the titles, a way that God could identify who he is to mankind. Isn't it interesting?
Hey, sorry for the interruption. I just wanted to tell you that this podcast has completely changed my life in ways that you could never imagine, and I would like the same for you. Look, you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with, and the fastest way for you to level yourself up in every area of your life is for you to connect with people who are where you want to be, build relationships with them, and connect with them. The best way for you to do that right now in the digital age is for you to start your own podcast. And I just wanted to let you know that I have a free training that you can get free access to. It's called the 30-day Net Worth Skyrocketing 3-step podcast cloak track framework. And it's going to show you how you can start and automate everything in your podcast, from finding your ideal guest, getting them on an interview with you, and creating an automated content machine in just 30 days. By executing on this free training, you're going to be able to connect with high-level people, no matter how rich, famous, or out of your league they may seem, in just 30 days with less than 1 to 2 hours per week, so that you can increase your net worth, your authority, your trust, your client acquisition ability, and your opportunity. So there's a special link for this free training in the description of this video. Thank you for watching and tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of this episode. Bye-bye.
The one he chose was, he's a creator.
Yeah.
Like, of all the ones he could have picked, he could have said, I'm the Almighty. He could have said, I'm God. Like, he could have said,
yeah.
Like, I am the Redeemer, whatever. No. What he said was, I'm a creator. And I think that's significant for us because, Steve Jobs, by the way, the Bible, as you know, would be used for Jews and Christians alike. Steve Jobs came from a little bit more of a Buddhist type background. He wasn't necessarily a Buddhist, but had more of a Buddhist slant on life. And Jobs has that famous quote where he says, everything that you and I now call life was once created by someone who's no smarter than you. He said, don't just build a life. He said, don't just live a life, build one. So in other words, life was created by someone else. Like this discussion was started in your mind, Alex. Like the podcast was once an idea, and you've now created it in something. Like our relationship didn't exist, a month ago, but you created it through taking action. So that's how you build positive momentum in your life. In all great cultures, they're telling us to be a creator, to create your life. Don't just live it. Don't just react to the distractions. Be in intentional creation mode. And that's how you live and create an exceptional life, is by being very highly intentional and doing it with high intention.
Oof, man, I love this topic. And yesterday I was talking to my mother and my stepdad about God being a creator, and like we were created in his image, right? So we were created by a creator to create, right? That's what I told him. And I started talking about this because they are outsourcing parenting to an iPad, right? And I have a like a 1-year-old sister who literally, man, spends, I checked the screen time, spends like 6 hours on the fucking iPad, man. Oh, like I like this. I don't know what I think I got mad, but yeah. But she spends like 7 hours on the iPad. They're like outsourcing, being a parent to the iPad. And I told him, like, look, like we were created by a creator to create, and like we were giving something that no other animal has, right? Which is like imagination. That's our God-given quality, imagination, our ability to imagine, our ability to think, and then be able to create whatever it is that we think, right? And that's our God-given ability. Like God has that ability. And because he's like omnipotent and very powerful, he can use that and instantly create. So he thinks and creates. It happens instantly for him because he's like the Almighty, right? For us, it takes a little bit of time, right? And that time, the gap between our imagination and when it comes to like being something, to we create something, that time is determined by our clarity, focus, discipline, and consistency, right? How clear we are about that thing that we imagine, how consistent we are, how focused, and how disciplined we are about taking action. That's what determines, like the time in which we imagine and then create. And then I was telling them the reason why it's so bad for my sister to be 7 hours on the freaking iPad every single day is because she's outsourcing the most powerful quality that she has, which is imagination. She's outsourcing her imagination to a freaking iPad. And that's our God-given quality. That's literally what sets us apart from animals, man. Right. And like you said right now, like our focus is being like robbed, right? Like in this generation. Yeah. And yeah, that's what happened.
Powerful story. Yeah. I mean, I think that story of that story is very indicative, but the truth is that same story is what's happening to most adults too. It may not just be sitting there on the iPad, just watching whatever, but they're sitting there on their freaking phone watching whatever, And so it's like, this is like I'm just telling you guys, this is your moment. This is your moment. Everyone's distracted. You get focused. You're going to blow past everybody. I tell people this is separation season. Like you got to separate yourself from everyone else because you're focused, they're not. And, you're disciplined, they're not. Like you have habits and rituals and patterns that are leading you where you want to go. They don't. Like this. If I'd have known some of this stuff, like this discussion we're having, if I'd have known some of this stuff when I was your age, I'd be way further ahead now than I am because it took me years to figure all this stuff out. So the fact that you guys are in your, late teens, early 20s, that whole thing, having these discussions and getting more aware of all this stuff, I'm just telling you, this is how you separate yourself from your entire generation.
Man, focus again. And then we're sharing this for free. So, man, you want to know how many interviews I wanted to end up by the end of the quarter? So like a week ago, 30. I wanted to end up by 30. That was like my big lofty goal. You want to know how many I ended up with? 72. It was because of focus, right? Because like I know what I want. And then I had a 10-year goal of speaking in front of hundreds of people at an event. And like throwing my events, I have my vision board there in front of me. And like, it's all about like speaking in front of hundreds of people. And like, I just feel called from the inside to do this. And I had a 10-year goal of doing that. And because of like the connections that I'm building, the relationships and opportunities and people that I'm surrounding myself with, because of my podcast, I'm achieving that this year, right? Because of focus. So 100%.
It's awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. So man, you're this like great person, this great leader, husband, father, entrepreneur, have generated billions of dollars of sales and all of that. But people are like, yeah, good, but you're all this like very successful and stuff. You said you started your entrepreneurial career at 25, right? And like from 25, less than 2 decades ago, now you're like this successful gentleman. Was it always like that? Like now let's go back, right? Now that we've shown people like, look what's possible, like let's go back, because they're probably thinking, oh, that's not possible for me. So
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Yeah. So no, dude, it hasn't always been like this. I mean, my first, I remember my very first presentation in my business. Oh my gosh, we set up 70 chairs. I drove to Las Vegas, drove 6 hours one way to Las Vegas for my presentation. We set up 70 chairs. I was told 70 to 75 people would be there. About 15 minutes into the presentation, one person showed up. His name was Henry. He sat on the front row. I had these 5x7 cards. I just read the presentation. It was literally so painful to watch me do this. It was, poor Henry just got trapped in there because he walked in on his phone and he looks up. He's like, oh crap, I'm the only guy here. I remember I drove to one of my very first events to learn how to, really improve myself. It was actually in Vegas again. And I went and sold these door to door, sold these animated Bible movies door to door. And when I came back to by the way, I sold nothing. It was all commission. So if you don't sell, you don't make any money. And I did that because I couldn't afford to get to this event. So I thought I'd make some money during the daytime before the event started. Come back to my car, and someone had thrown a rock through my car, shattered all the glass everywhere, rummaged through my stuff, took whatever little kind of spare cash they could find. And plus it's just that feeling of like, ugh, you just got your freaking, like all your stuff rummaged through. So not only did I not have money to get to the event, not only did I not make any money, now I got this broken window. So I'm like vacuuming out all the stuff, take it to a car repair place, they're fixing my window. So I pull up to this event, sitting in the back of the room, just like, what am I doing with my life? Like chasing all these goals, And I mean, I could just go on and on and on, but the truth is, I don't think this thing was supposed to work out the way that it worked out. Like I think I have no college education. I really don't have any business background at all. I mean, I was making pizzas. I did mindless, like worked in a ditch, lining a ditch with rocks for my dad's construction company, like just like mindless work. And then I started selling these cartoon Bible movies. Like, I was a guy at the mall people tried to like not make eye contact with, because they didn't want me to pull them into their mall kiosk, But what I did have, and what I hope that your listeners have as well, is I had big dreams and I had big goals, and I had a big work ethic. That's actually one thing I do think that I have, is I was freaking willing to put in a lot of work. And there was a lot of years that I planted a lot of seeds that I didn't necessarily harvest, And I tell people, you guys have heard the quote, but it's like, many of us we overestimate what we can do in a year and we underestimate what we can do in 5 or 10 years. That's what happened to me, And it took me in my profession, it took me 14 years to become, one of the top earners in my profession. And then in the next 2 years, I took what I was earning per year and made it to what I was earning per month. And I share that with you to say, just the compounding effect of all of that year and, years and years and years and years and years worth of effort was really profound, over time.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. And you said it wasn't supposed to turn out the way that it did, right? But so like, why do you say that? I mean, yeah, you didn't have a college education, you spent a lot of time doing mindless work. So like, why do you think, apart from like the hard, like you having a work ethic and being willing to do whatever it takes, why do you think it did turn out the way that it did, man?
Yeah, I think it did for, a myriad of different reasons. Number one is, if I had to give myself some credit, I would say that I never relented. I just kept going. I just kept persisting. And I worked with a guy years ago that had been wildly successful, earned over $100 million in his career. And his little girl got up in his lap one day and she goes, "Daddy, what are you the most proud of?" And he said, "Sweetheart," he said, "what your daddy's the most proud of is he's a long dreamer." She goes, "What does that even mean? That's so weird. You're so weird. What does that even mean?" And he said, "Honey," he said, "some people can hold on to their dream for a couple of days, other people for a couple of weeks, some for a couple of months." He goes, "some people for a couple of years." He goes, "Your daddy holds on to his dream until his dream comes true. He doesn't just dream big, he dreams long, And I think that's one thing I had is I just kind of, I dreamed long, I just kind of kept persisting until the dream came true. So that's one thing that I would say. I think a second thing is, I tell people you want to persist until you succeed, but you also want to adapt until you succeed. You want to grow until you succeed. Like, don't just keep beating your head against the wall, hoping that things are going to change. Like, sometimes you got to adapt and you got to grow and change. Like, selling my last business was one of the scariest things I'd ever done. But selling my last business was one of the smartest. It probably was the number one smartest business move I'd ever made in my whole career, was selling that business and moving on from that business. So, what else would I share with you? I think that, finding the right opportunity. I look at our business now, like, it was a huge risk, huge reward kind of situation. But we found a business that if you could pull it off. This is one of the things I tell you guys. Like, my mentor used to say to me, he said, pick a hobby that if you get good at, you can get rich. He said, you can't get rich at gardening. Like, if that's your hobby, you're not going to get rich at gardening. Like, pick something that if you get good at, like in my profession, if you became good at my profession, you can make a ton of cash. If you become good at real estate, you can make a ton of cash. Insurance, like, pick something that you can learn, that you can get, like, if you learn it, pay the price, learn the skills, but pick something that can make you really, really rich if you get really good at it, is one of the things that I feel like is a good piece of advice.
Awesome. So yeah, man. So dream long. So actually, that's a really good insight, because when this girl that I told you about earlier told me about what I'm going to be doing with my life, and she came and gave me validation that was supposedly coming from God, which I do believe, by the way. So when she told me that, I was like, well, how can I think bigger? Like, I'm thinking as big as I can. And like, dreaming long comes into play, because all I got to do is just dream long enough until my current dreams become a reality. And then I'm going to be able to like think bigger than that.
Yeah. It's not just enough to dream big. Now, you want to dream big. Don't get me wrong. Like, small dreams don't move big people, but dreaming big's easy. Dreaming long is hard, and if you do what's easy your life will be hard. But if you'll do what's hard, your life will be easy. So you want to persist until you succeed. You want to dream and hold on to the dream until the dream comes true.
Yeah, that's extremely valuable, man. Do you have any strategy to be able to dream long?
Well, I think a lot of it's mindset stuff. It's just like most people. So imagine the word until.
Okay.
The word until can guarantee your success. So I'll give you an example. If I had a quarter, so just imagine I'm holding a quarter like this.
Mm-hmm.
If I take the quarter and I flip it up in the air, catch it, and I land it on my wrist, right? And I take the quarter, flip it up, catch it, land it on my wrist. What are the odds? What are the odds that I can flip 10 heads in a row? When I do this for audiences, they'll be like 50-50 because there's a heads and tails, or they'll be like 1 out of 10, 10% because, or someone else will be like, dude, no, it's 1 out of 100. I've had people be like, dude, it's 1 to the like 0.00 millionth power. Like the odds of this are not high, because it's 10 heads in a row. Well, do you want to know what the odds are? The odds are 100% for sure guaranteed. Why? Because I didn't limit how many times you can flip the quarter. You can flip the quarter until you land 10 heads in a row. The point that I'm trying to illustrate is that you can persist until you succeed. The word until will guarantee your success. Not make it hopeful, but guarantee it. Because there's 5 levels of certainty. There's 5 levels of certainty. The lowest level is it's impossible. If something is impossible, you're not going to put any effort into it. Impossible, by the way, means it's not possible for you or for me or for anyone else. It's literally impossible. If that's you're certain of that, you're not going to put any effort into it. Next level up is improbable. Improbable means the deck is stacked highly in highly against me. Next one up is possible. It is possible that I could do this. Now, possible means I may not do it, but at least it is possible. The next one up is probable. And probable means I actually, like, the deck stacked in my favor to make this happen. And I'm certain of that. And then lastly, number 5 is inevitable. Like, the word until can guarantee your success. It can make your success inevitable, because it's inevitable. If you flip long enough and hard enough and consistent enough, you'll flip 10 heads in a row. It's eventually going to happen. Most people, what they do, this goes back to the mindset. Most people is they persist until it gets hard. They persist until someone quits. They persist until, that business fails, like my first business. They persist until they have to move into the loft above their wife's parents' garage. They persist until someone makes fun of them. They persist until, they go sell something on their job and they don't sell anything the entire weekend. It's like, I'm out, I'm done. You want to persist until you succeed. Not until it gets hard, but until you succeed. That's the mindset. You just persist until you succeed. And you say, well, so how long do I persist? And the answer is until you succeed. You adapt until you succeed, change until you succeed, grow until you succeed. You just go persist until you succeed.
You persist until whatever it is that you want becomes inevitable.
Exactly.
Awesome. So, man, we're almost out of time. And I finished my interviews with 5 questions. The first question is, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self if you could? Not redo your life or change anything, just give your 20-year-old self some advice. What would that be?
I would say to them that your success is inevitable. Like just go pay the price. Like, in other words, it's not, this isn't a matter of, hope this is going to work out. It's just, you just got to go pay the price. It's going to be harder than you think. It's going to take longer than you think, but you just got to go pay the price.
Yeah. Yeah. Your success that's amazing, man. The second question is mindset. What is a mindset shift that you've had that you can share that you think has contributed to your success?
One of them I think is just abundance. It's like, there's no shortage of money in the world. There's no shortage of success in the world. Like, other people's success doesn't take from your success. Like, it's just you can build whatever you want to build. You can become as big as you want to become. You could build the biggest podcast in the world and not even bump into anybody else. Like, there's just so much. There's so much out there for you could literally become massively successful, and so can everybody else. Like, it's just abundance. There's so much that you can go accomplish without bumping into anybody else.
Great mindset to have. The mindset map. The next question is around clarity, right? We talked a little bit about clarity. So do you have any strategy, tactic, tool, or piece of advice that you could give someone who wants more clarity in their life?
George Bernard Shaw said that he said that 2% of people think, 3% of people think they think, and 95% of people would rather die than think.
Yeah.
So what I would share is just like, when was the last time you just sat down and just thought, like, what do you want with your life? What do you want your life to look like? Where do you want to travel? What do you want to accomplish? What does winning look like for you? What does success look like for you? Like, just think, just take some time to think, turn off the TV, turn off your phone, and just think, just think to yourself, what am I trying to build? What is my life, looking to be? Like, that's what I would say. Is just take time to think.
Just think. Yeah, that's amazing. That's so simple, right? Man, but yeah, like, if you ask 100 people, walking down the street what they want, 99, maybe 100 of them, all of them won't be able to tell you what they want. The most important question of their life, yet they cannot respond just because they don't take the time to think. Yeah. Mindset map, motion. What is a habit that you have that you think has contributed to your success?
Yeah, we talked about this earlier, but I think one of them is just exercise. Like, I've basically worked out 4 to 5 days a week for the last 26 years. Like, I haven't missed a week for 26 years, like 4 to 5 days a week, every week, every morning. Like, you could almost set your clock to it, like where I'm going to be in the morning. It's just part of my routine, and I think that's had a huge kind of contributor to my eventual success.
Yeah, cool. Mindset map, motion. The last one is measure, money, right? Like, if you want to have money, if you want to have results physically, emotionally, financially, sentimentally, that's the 4 things that you got to get right. You got to get your mindset right, your map right, your measure right, your motion right, and your measure. So what do you think about measuring and tracking?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest one for me is there's a lot of things, but really money comes down to 3 things. One is you got to maximize your income earning potential, which basically means you got to earn as much as you possibly can. You got to maximize, like, the fastest way to get rich is make more money. And I know that sounds obvious, but I'm just saying, like, in your job right now, like, what are you doing to maximize your income earning potential? Like, maybe start another job or another business or a side hustle, or maximize your income earning potential. Number 2 is minimize your expenses. You want your income to go up and your expenses to go down. Most people, when their income goes up, their expenses go right along with them. So you don't need all the stuff today, dude. You don't need all the cars and everything. You don't need that. And then number three is build cash flowing assets. This is really the goal. So you maximize your income earning potential. You minimize your expenses, which means you build a gap. Cash is going up, expenses are going down. Then you build a gap, and then you use that cash to build assets, cash flowing assets. And that's how you become financially independent, is where your assets are paying more than what your expenses are every month.
Amazing. Sounds pretty similar to what I want to do. I want to, like maximize my earning potential, and then just keep on living the way that I'm living, because I don't feel like I need anything. And then use that, massive amounts of cash to invest into like buildings, right? Like apartment buildings or office space buildings or malls, right? So pretty cool, man. So man, I've really enjoyed this, man. I feel like, I don't know, like bothered. I feel like mad. This has never happened before. I had a really good time. But you said so many things that like aligned with me, that I even like, that I got mad. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's weird. Like this has never happened before. Like this feeling has never come up. But I'm enjoying it right now. I'm gonna see why that happened. But I really love this man. I really enjoyed talking to you. So like, if people out there enjoyed it as well and they want to know more about Justin Prince, you got a book, right? You speak, you have a lot of stuff going on. So where can they go and find you?
Yeah, you can go to iamjustinprince.com. You can go to all my socials under I Am Justin Prince. And if I can add value or serve you guys in any way, I'm happy to. And I give out a ton of free content, and happy to watch you guys continue to crush your lives and, go to the next level in your life and your happiness and your ability to serve other people.
Cool. So what is your book, Change Your World, about? Really quick.
Yeah, it's really kind of the name says, Change Your World, 5 Steps to Unapologetic Success. It's like, how do you freaking go crush your life? How do you change like for me, I literally changed my entire world as I look back. I'm living a completely different life than the way that I was kind of started off as. And so it's 5 steps to unapologetic success.
Cool. You're also a speaker. Do you got any events coming on?
Yeah, so I just finished one this last weekend. I speak, really all the time, but I speak for companies. I speak for my company, but I speak for companies and, do keynotes and trainings and so on for different businesses. And, if that's something I can serve your business with, I'd certainly be happy to.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, man. I really enjoyed it. And look, I'm going to do something really special just for the Justin Prince episode. I'm going to have a link to just, under all the links that we're going to include for you. I'm going to have a link. It's going to be something/Prince, Justin Prince. And it's going to be a link that takes people to a training that walks them from A through Z on how to start, launch, grow, monetize, and automate $1 million network building podcast, just like I've had done, right? With my podcast, started it less than 6 months ago, have about 80 interviews, and it's completely changed my life, right? I've been surrounding myself with people who, are decades ahead of me, and it's been life-changing. On the same for other people. So I'm going to include that link just for the Justin Prince episode, man. So that's it. Thank you very much, man. I really enjoyed it. And thank you for being here.
Thanks, brother. Honored to be on with you. Thanks, brother. Keep up the great work. Keep inspiring.
Bye-bye. Thank you for watching the Gentleman Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with one friend, leave us a comment, and let us know. 99% of people never leave a review or comment, but we love and are very thankful with the 1% of you who do. If there's something or someone you want to see on this podcast, send me a message on Instagram at Alex_Ramirez1020 and let me know. As a thank you for that, I have an amazing surprise for each and every one of you who does take the time to leave us a comment or review on YouTube or one of the major podcasting platforms